Welcome to Beacon Space. Today, I'm Xavier Stordes with a special morning edition of our show broadcasting live from Puluhan.
Well, at least you are. I, Lupus Calbrecht, am still remaining in my studio apartment for the time being. Our top story tonight, assembled Commonwealth trading stock in defunct company Same GOP has been halted.
We are the Penumbra. We are the shadows. And we are at war. The Golden Stag Revolutionary Front have aptly associated themselves with animals. They would see us separated, isolated, alone. And to reach their ends, they will use any means. We are not innocent, but in this war, we are not your enemy. Like you, we come from cultures of many. We will not see that changed. If you cannot, will not join us in this fight, we simply ask, you do not stand in our way. We are the Penumbra. We fight in the shadows. We will win this war.
Thank you, production. Great. It seems like maybe we're back. Okay, yep. Yep, thank you. Okay, great. We've taken care of that. Hello, everyone. My sincerest apologies for that interruption. It appears a jukebox that I brought with me to Puluhan from the Cacti Oasis Bar and Casino managed to hijack our transmission signal on the broadcast feed for a minute there. I assure you the BBTV is in no way responsible for the content of that messaging, and we will look to strongly prosecute the individuals responsible for such a transmission.
Remember, kids at home, never introduce a unfamiliar device into your home computer system network. A lesson a sector-spanning BBTV anchor should certainly have learned by now. Anyway, our top story tonight is no, I don't like that one. I'm going off script. Tonight, our top story is going to be relayed by Charles and Zamina for BBTV Cook. Has the fabled Hollow Queen been discovered in a newly opened cell block? Keep watching to find out.
Well, with following that last minute change to our top story this evening, or this morning actually, we also bring you a new report from the Children of the Vase Trey Grin, providing a compelling update on the TELUS Office of Immigration, along with other updates from the Vane Sphere of Influence.
The Aguamala Syndicate continues its expansion into Sector Northwest with negotiations underway for control of the planet that has been designated K by the TTGI Exploration Committee. In sector map updates, please ensure your destinations for Planet Q have been updated to Quetzalcoatl, as the planet is now being branded as an adventure paradise, with a jungle being an ideal location.
And some unfortunate, horrific news in the past week. The BBTV affiliate stations covering the developments of brewing conflict within the assembled Commonwealth have produced a new report covering more details of the aftermath of an explosion that was first reported last week. We'll get to the story later in our broadcast.
In further exploration news this month, rumours and snippets of internal to Horror-Fi reports have come to light regarding the exploration of a planet designated N. We'll hear an internal crew record in mere moments.
The first of two joint diplomatic announcements come from the Children of the Vane and the Concord of Mutual Disdain, the latter of which has been a recent newcomer to the select sector political game, and they seem to have secured a positive relationship boost with the Vane. What will the future of this relationship hold? Only time will tell.
Secondly, in diplomatic announcements, trade negotiations between the assembled Commonwealth and Tahorify have come to an amicable conclusion, with the promise of increased prosperity for all. We will be bringing you their full public announcement issued by the Six of Commerce, Vola Hayden.
And our last feature report this month comes from the Ascent with the release of an all-new Icarosian Courier plushie. This cute and adorable plush inspires all Icarosians to become male courier experts. Without them, secure sector communications would be slower than molasses. We'll be right back with more news on Beacon Broadcast tonight after a word from our sponsor, Moss Fit. MOSFET, Designer Jeans and Parts, announced its grand opening this cycle, with a chain of new clinics opening in urban centers across the planet. MOSFET is the brainchild of vain athlete and celebrity Howling Star, who rose to fame as a gladiator and social media darling, advocating for biomodification and organic positivity. As a lover of Mossy culture, looking to branch out her media empire and plant new roots, Howling Star found eager investors among the Combine, and now her dream has borne fruit. MOSFET is happy to offer the people of Moss a new venture for organic biomodification services and advanced biocosmetics, ranging from genetic enhancements to cosmetic alterations and everything in between. Come in for a Witch Miss Holiday consultation for 10% off your first limb. MOSFET, Designer Jeans and Parts. Find your best fit, only on Moss. We thank MOSFET for their wonderful patronage of BBTV broadcast this morning, as our show is, and all of our wonderful sponsors that support us so that we can continue to bring us the news. With that, hi everyone, I'm Lich, Master98 from the Unrestricted Lorefare Discord, or you may also know me as Xavier Stordes, as my BBTV anchor name is here, and I'm here with my co-host for this stream, Lupus Kalbreck.
Hello.
We hope you're having a wonderful day today and have enjoyed our nice and fun cold open into the world of Beacon Space broadcast television. If you're unfamiliar with Unrestricted Lorefare, I will try to sum it up very quickly, but it is a Discord community of lots of really cool people who are working to create this setting, the sci-fi setting that we call Beacon Space. The primary function of the game is a variation of the Stars Without Numbers faction turn system adapted to be a multiplayer game where members of the Discord community can join the different factions and take turns creating their actions for a month. This is our monthly lore stream where we cover the in-fiction side of the setting, where we see what the factions have done and how their mechanical actions translate to in-fiction movements. You've just watched our cold open, which gives a bunch of information about what we'll be covering from our faction announcements later in this news broadcast, along with hopefully some fun teases and interruptions about things that are going on in the world of the Penumbra, our West Marches Cypher System RPG system, GM'd by Lupus Kalbreck.
Yep, it's all very exciting, and it's all coming up just after this.
Yeah, if you're interested in learning more, you can join the Discord server. There's a link very nicely posted by the bot in the Twitch chat, or you can also find a link to join underneath if you're watching the VOD on YouTube after the stream today. With that, I do, before we go into our faction announcements, want to acknowledge the advertisement that ran at the last section of our cold open. That was brought to you by the Children in the Vein and the Larkspur Combine's combined efforts in a lore expansion project from the Children of the Vein. It had originally been intended as a faction announcement, and I asked for permission to transform it into an ad as it was promoting more of a business aspect. So I'd like to thank them for the logo and the creation of the Planet of Moss's picture that had been previously done and is existing on the Wiki, to turn and create that video together. So that was a really cool usage of a nice faction announcement to tie into our opening session. Additionally to that, we did get interrupted in our broadcast by a Penumbra network transmission. It's still up in the air exactly what hijacked that cold open, but I think we could thank the appropriate individuals from the Discord community who put together the audio track that we used with that interruption. So thank you to them.
Yeah. You may know them as the Free Agent, infamous system breaker, and devilish rogue as Cinch, who hacked the BBTV broadcast to bring us that creepy message.
If only I hadn't brought that jukebox that was being fiddled with in the most recent
Rookie
scene.
mistake. Rookie mistake.
You know, something like that. With that, though, perhaps we should jump right into our faction announcements, unless you have any more welcoming messages to provide, Cal?
No, already some brilliant content, and everyone in the community has worked hard to submit some awesome reports that I'm looking forward to sharing.
Great, then with that, let's get started with the report from the Children of Vane's reporter Trey Grin this month, as I believe Chaz Gusto Prime is visiting family on Moss. Let's take a listen in to their report.
This report has been made possible by the New Eden Gene Bank. Be a better you. Visit your local branch for a consultation. Hello, Beacon Space. This is Trey Grin here with the latest, filling in for your favorite reporter, Chaz, who is visiting family on Moss. In the news this cycle, secret operations in the outer reaches, business and travel from around the sector, and Telos reimagined. The Telos Office of Immigration released a report today detailing an upward trend in immigration from Moss, bringing that entrepreneurial spirit that the Combine culture is so famous for, with new businesses opening all around Telos offering a wide range of much-needed services and expertise in ship repair, industrial recycling and salvage, auto shops, and even specialty weapons trades. Transit costs between the two worlds are also down as of this cycle, with many Moss and Telos citizens enjoying the chance to visit loved ones for the holidays at a lower price. Our good friend Chaz is enjoying the opportunity to spend more time with his family on Moss as we speak. And personally, I don't mind the fact that I don't need to burn a hole in my wallet just to make the trip myself. If you ever have a chance to sample some Moss cuisine, I recommend the Hell Pig Roast. It's simply divine. At a press event earlier this cycle, the TTGI announced the successful completion of the polar melting project after many terraforming cycles, and with the aid of the accelerated climatological benefits of the directed Stravocaro impact event, resulting in new seas and oceans that will help propagate the development of life on the world. With this announcement, the TTGI also unveiled a wave of new, living, seaborne colonial habitats, developed from the genetic template of Kartakuk's own jellyfish city, Vagaz. With direction and leadership from Concord scientists, Vane bioengineers were able to breed a new species of titanic jellyfish, the Telasi medusae, upon which the first of these new seagoing cities has been grown and built, with specially adapted living megafloral infrastructure rooted onto the backs of these majestic creatures. The head Concord researcher on the project, Ontal Garin Benzo, had this to say about the success. In an exciting development for biology and city planning, the previously theoretical science based around Vagaz and its origins has successfully been implemented in this project. The possibilities for both Telos and the sector at large are both incredible and diverse. Can you imagine it? Vagaz surrounded by its genetically recreated offspring. Even more exciting are the other possibilities, after which the head scientist ventured off into a tangent regarding giant edible snail cities. Though the Stravocaro cleanup efforts have a long way to go, TTGI officials have promised a better, brighter future for Telos to come in the wake of recent successes. And for our last story, news from the outer reaches. Per information obtained by our undisclosed sources, a Vane operation is now underway on planet AQ, with waves of industrial-scale bioengineers and labor drones being deployed to the planet. Sources suggest recent activity is related to some sort of industrial harvesting mission, codename Operation Worm Farm, though details remain unclear. Chaz hates worms, so I guess he lucked out today. And that concludes our sector report for this cycle. Some uplifting news, hopes for a better future, and secrets on the frontier. This has been Trey Grin, blipping out.
Thank you, Trey Grin, for that compelling report from the Children of the Vane, and I hope Chaz enjoys his well-earned vacation time on Moss visiting family. I'm sure he'll be back, though, given he just recently won the Reporter of the Year award, and, well, of course, he can't step out on that high of accolades.
Yes, of course he did. At least in surveys, the replacement Trey Grin, 4 out of 10 people reported Trey Grin to be equivalent to Lupus Kelbrecht. However, the remaining 6 out of 10 indicated that they thought Trey Grin was far superior to Lupus Kelbrecht.
Sounds like you have another reporter that is starting to overtake you in popularity. How disappointing.
It feels like I am in a dark pit of which there is no escape.
Well, at least your court dramas have not returned this month, and we have another month of relative peace and calm, even if you're still trapped in your apartment.
Yes, it is quite comfortable. Thank you for the bouquet.
You're welcome. With that, I believe we can move on to a report of yours from the Agumala Syndicate.
Yes, my contacts within the Aguamala Syndicate continue to release internal memorandums to BBTV, either intentionally or as propaganda. At this point, I am unsure. However, I can bring to you the contents of that internal memo now. It is from the members and affiliated patrons of the Aguamala Syndicate, or it is to them rather from the leaders of the Aguamala Syndicate on the subject of continued expansion. Project Anaziti, which we have reported to you previously, they are reporting to continues to be a resounding success, with negotiations with the leaders of Planet K nearing completion. Discussions are still being finalized as to what the official designation of this world will be, but rest assured that we will be sure to notify all interested parties as soon as things are finalized. In other news, the Lapides Pegu continues its planetary outreach mission, beginning preliminary meetings between local leaders and syndicate representatives on Planet F. If things progress as expected, it is hoped that they too will agree to the terms laid out in Project Anaziti and join the ever-growing coalition of planets participating in it. It is hoped that with Syndicate aid, this world could be recovered from its previously unhappy past and recovered to a prospering civilization once more. Finally, with the agreements around Quetzalcoatl finalized, we are pleased to present our first look at the planet's offerings for tourists and researchers alike. The planet's chill atmosphere is milder than Gome's frigid climate, more suitable for those looking for a less extreme experience. A multitude of ruins and picturesque views provide a stunning venue for hikes and exploration, a favorite pastime of many travelers. Included with this transmission is a first run of the promotional posters for Quetzalcoatl, which we have here to show you on broadcast. It is featuring one of the ancient structures found all across the planet. As always, any requests for further details should be directed to your local syndicate representative. Or, if you do not have access to a syndicate representative, you can always ask BBTV, who have the latest, freshest, hottest news.
As we endeavor to always have, we've got the broadcast poster from Quetzalcoatl up now. It is a very wonderful, picturesque view with a great waterfall in the background, including some ruins to go explore. Perhaps I'll have to ping pong my way back across the galaxy or the sector to take advantage of the new adventure opportunities there.
Yes, I really do love seeing this burgeoning wave of exploration and all these wonderful, amazing new environments of which I have no hope of ever visiting.
Perhaps we just need to grease a few more wheels in the legal process. Oh wait,
Perhaps
did
I
I
can
say
get
that on
them
air?
to.
Oops.
Oops.
Well, we thank the Alchemist Syndicate for their wonderful poster and internal memo. And I believe we
Next
can
up,
move right along.
we have a report from the assembled Commonwealth, which I believe you are reporting for us.
That's correct. As a transmission from our BBTV affiliate stations in the Commonwealth space, we've received an update on the aftermath of the Ancon attack. Shock and anger continue to reverberate throughout the assembled Commonwealth as authorities identify the final victims of last week's attack. 33 Commonwealth citizens were killed with many more injured when a bomb was detonated during a commissioning ceremony for the CNV Conway. Many of the casualties were members of the Satanist. Did I say that correctly? I think so. Including Nicolas Monques, a monk of the Chapelle Ambriel, and a senior researcher attached to the Commonwealth Navy Department of Ships. Monques was responsible for the handling and supervision of several artifacts of the Saints, and the first Space Lord spoke of his passing, praising his ceaseless passion for unlocking the secrets of Saints and his devotion to the duty is devotion to duty to the Commonwealth and his faith. Antiklos Dakin Karaman gave an address this morning at a service for those lost in the attack. Karaman announced a period of mourning is to be held by all of the Satanist monasteries. As the speech continued, Karaman began a blistering attack on the perpetrators of the attack and any who supported them. Karaman called for a ceaseless and merciless search for all those cowardly evildoers who resorted to such a heinous act. Name continued. Karaman continued to call for the authorities to bring to justice all who support the aims of these terrorists or those who provide any aid or assistance, no matter how little. Karaman's speech concluded by referring to a meeting with the Aetharkling in which she gave her personal assurance that she would do all in her power to bring the Sons of the Beacon to justice. Karaman called on other Satanists to join him in pledging his support to the Aetherling and her allies in the Assembly, who would see the stain brought upon the Commonwealth by these events wiped clean, and a new era for the Commonwealth begin. Meanwhile, the Assembly has gathered for several days in an emergency session. In the wake of the attack, legislation has been finalized that would grant the Commonwealth Internal Security Office wide-ranging powers to hunt down those responsible for the attack and any who supported them, including unrestricted surveillance powers and the deployment of naval assets in support. In a passionate address to the Assembly, the Aetherling Sinwin made the case for these powers. She reminded the Assembly that only by happenstance was she not present at the ceremony. She went on to say, "This attack must be responded to. We must show that the Commonwealth stands united against this cowardly act. Whatever your politics, whatever you think of me or the position of the Aethark, this is not the way of the Commonwealth." Representative Lagrange and his allies have been less enthusiastic to pass the legislation. Lange responded to the Aetherling by saying, "I agree that this legislation is important, that those responsible for this heinous act must be brought to justice. However, I caution this House that this must not be allowed to take place to persecute and vilify those who simply support further democratic reforms to take place in the Commonwealth." Despite Representatives Lange and his allies' calls for caution, the legislation was ratified by an enormous majority. Soon after the ratification was complete, several raids were undertaken by the CISO and naval forces in multiple city-states. Reports claim over 25 individuals have been arrested, but authorities have refused to elaborate on this operation anymore. The Aethark remains under heavy security, with the Verdant Palace still under lockdown, and has not been seen in public since the attack. Although the Aethark did make a public address soon after the attack, the Aetherling has been ever more present. Senwen was seen attending several vigils, met privately with some of the injured in hospital and the victims of the families, and has been attending many debates in the Assembly. The Aetharking's security has been visibly increased. However, it is clear the Aetharking is making a point to the attackers that she won't personally be cowed by them. The past few days have seen an outpouring of grief and sympathy for the victims of the attack. Many city-states have held vigils and gatherings to mourn and remember those lost. While the majority have been peaceful, occasional bouts of violence have erupted. Large crowds of individuals have been targeting legitimate Republican groups, setting fire to offices associated with them, and clashing with Republican supporters. Tensions on Ardiras continue to rise, and many fear they are reaching a breaking point. The attack in Akon might just be the first act in an escalating conflict that could consume the entire Commonwealth. That was quite a report from our affiliate station in the Commonwealth space. I'm going to need a moment to recover from that.
Quite an impressive report from the assembled Commonwealth. Of course, we have been following the ongoing drama surrounding the constitutional crisis caused by the Aetherring and their ascension into politics of the Assembly. The reports of this are a welcome distraction, but unfortunately the bombing and violence has continued. We sincerely ask all citizens to remain safe, remain indoors, and allow law enforcement, the Navy, and the other military assets of the assembled Commonwealth to deal with this situation. Please follow the advisory of your local government, and if your local government is currently unformed or in open rebellion, good luck.
We here at BBTV wish everyone to remain safe, and if needed, you can always ask for passage on to the BBTV Honesty, which is currently stationed in orbit around different planets in Commonwealth space, investigating these measures. We do accept some amount of individuals to take passage on our vessels.
Yes, indeed. And next up, as a palate cleanser, we have somewhat of a dramatization of recent reports from to horrify exploratory vessels. It has been assembled from crew logs, internal sensors, and information submitted to us very kindly by the to horrify. So I will present that to you now. And after the crew, so to set the scene, a crew is on an exploratory mission out in the depth of the sector. After the crew of the ship managed to avoid the trap of falling back into a twisted gravity field, a call out is made to Beamish, the helmsman. Object identified in a wide orbit around Langan. Under the guidance of Zach Newberg, the master lens taken on to observe the graphitical anomaly, traversal to the orbital object is slow but measured. As the object comes into view, the crew crowd the port side windows. The station, as it is now clear, appears to have seen better days, with only emergency exterior lighting active on large portions. Once the fire ship approaches, a surge of power flows through the station. Floodlights and shielding activate. On the bridge, a klaxon and warning lights activate. "We're being targeted by automated defenses," the engineer calls out. "Engage defensive maneuvers." Ships of the to horrify are accustomed to ambushes, but would rather be on the other side of the engagement. As the station's guns level upon them, the crew jump to their stations. Beamish pulls the vessel sharply starboard and enters into a retreating corkscrew pattern to evade the point defense system. Once back at a safe distance, the ship enters a controlled orbit and searches for weaknesses in the mystery station below. We know you viewers at home have been hanging on for the next installment of this epic adventure. And of course, by the time we receive these transmissions, events have already been several days happening. But we will continue to update the snippets as we manage to interpret them for our viewers and give you them in the most unbiased way possible.
Absolutely. This does help and conclude at least the most recent round of reporting into the exploration on an unknown ruin currently located on planet AN in System 23, or XXIII. It's the 0408 system, for those of you interested. Very very solidly in the current domain of the Tahora Phi. As I'm
It could
currently
have been.
reporting from Puluhan, I'm planning to make a trip up to that planet later this month.
Watch out for the predatory Pushu Yunta on Pulahan's first moon. Of
Well,
course, we support to horrify, and who knows? The ruin could have been discovered already given the broadcast delay, so keep your eyes glued to BBTV and don't turn off when it's the adverts.
of course not. We'd like to take this moment to thank our sponsors, the New Eden Gene Bake and MOSFET.
Be a better you.
With that, we'll move right on to our next report coming to you from the Children and the Vein and the Concord of Mutual Disdain, with the Vane officials recently announcing the Heliocytus Karkaduk Pact of Friendship this past cycle, ushering in a new era of prosperity and cooperation with the peoples of the Concord in the interest of sharing knowledge, science, and trade, finding much common cultural ground between the two interstellar parties. This announcement reads as follows. To the people of Beacon and our siblings under God, it is with full and joyous hearts that we, the people of the Children of the Vein, announce our newfound friendship among our kin in life, the Concord of Mutual Disdain. The people of the Concord maintain a rich and storied history of hardship and tribulation against oppression and ignorance, overcoming their struggles through wisdom, love, and friendship. It is our hope that we may learn from and emulate such magnanimous grace and compassion for the mutual respect and beauty of life and culture. To new friends and new beginnings.
It's heartwarming to see the people of the sector coming together, being peaceful, and moving towards our joint prosperity.
Yes, we are
In that
told.
vein, oh, sorry.
Thus, we are in fact told that Scaliazo Boston Germantide Yapple, the Concord signee for this treaty, hailed the agreement as another step in Concord's progress from planetary isolation to a true member of the beacon space community. Experts from both factions took the lead during recent Tellus Terra Group Initiative efforts, and their scientific exchanges have already proven to be a boon for the sector, which has been quite an interesting results. Have you had a chance to take a look at the new oceans of Tellus out of your window, and perhaps seen the new cities appear on them?
I asked them to update my hollow window, but it is still stuck on only desert environments, which is my least favorite biome.
That's quite unfortunate. Perhaps we'll need to see about getting maintenance to update that window for you. Is there not someplace you have a non-hollow window in the apartment? I thought we splurged for the extras there.
There was, and then a vandal came along and fitted one just to make my life even more miserable. I personally suspect Chaz Gusto Prime, but have no proof.
Well, without proof, it would not be wise of us to make an accusation now, would it?
Indeed. And continuing in the theme of sector prosperity and cooperation, we have a report from the Assembled Commonwealth and the Tahara Phi, who are featuring heavily in today's broadcast thanks to all of their activities over the recent month. But their agreement is being reported to us by Vola Hayden, the Six of Commerce from the Assembled Commonwealth, and they report the following agreement. They report, as the chosen representative of the Six of Commerce, it has been my great honour to meet on behalf of the assembled Commonwealth with the good captains of the Tahara Phi, the historical stewards of the Kikorangi Eti Tahara Y, and to formally conclude the negotiations regarding the Commonwealth Phi Treaty of Free Navigation and Commerce, which the Phi report have not agreed to such a name. The assembled Commonwealth shares with the Tahara Phi a history of master artisans and brave spacefarers, but there's an even stronger link that binds us together. The idea that someone is truly great only when they are a part of something greater, body and soul working towards the common good of their people. It is in the spirit of this connection that today we sign this agreement. The selected merchants and whalers who will be given the right of free movement between the Ether Reach and the Kikorangi Ote Tahara Phi will bring with them not only precious Idarai jewelry or fine Phi artisanship, but also their culture and their stories. It is my greatest hope that through trade our peoples may foster a true and lasting friendship as we travel together into these new frontiers. To those with perhaps less poetic outlook, I can assure that the birth of this new, dynamic market between the Reach and the Rangi is projected to bring prosperity not only to Commonwealth and Phi worlds, but to the beacon space as a whole. Consumers all around the sector can anticipate an influx of quality goods and luxury items. I look forward to continued cooperation with the Tahara Phi in this endeavour. And again, this was brought to us by Vola Hayden, the Six of Commerce from the Assembled Commonwealth.
That does make a lot of sense now, given that I saw an increased number of Commonwealth trade ships convoying with us in the most recent jump to the sector where Pulahan is located, Nusantara, from the previous sector of Tutham. Perhaps this increased trade agreement will mean a larger prosperity for all Commonwealth and Phi and Beacon base citizens.
Yeah, and as it says in our additional report from the Six of Commerce, by Scrimshaw, we like Scrimshaw products.
And I believe the Tahora Y have been reported as saying, we enjoy limes, please buy limes. I think you may be able to find these reports in the scrolling lower third if you've taken the time to enjoy some of them.
Our continued reporting is, of course, going to expand upon this new arrangement between the Assembled Commonwealth at Tahara Phi and the new relationship between the Children of the Vein and the Concord of Mutual Disdain. It appears that lines are being drawn, alliances made. Here's hoping that they do not come to blows.
That sounds very poetic. I'll have to perhaps see about having someone set that to some wonderful music. And as we move on from our diplomatic reporting this month, we turn to our Community Spotlight section, a quasi-IC and out-of-character section all at the same time. I'd like to go ahead and introduce, starting off with a photo that was inspired by a remark, actually, Lupus made here during a free agents session regarding an Icarosian courier plush, where we asked a member of the community, you may know them as Kier on the Discord server, to draw what a potential version of this may look like. So the Icarosians, for those unfamiliar with the species, resemble antelopes that are stood up on two legs and instead of the four that we are used to them here on Earth. And this is a model version of one as a courier. Ascent being the faction of quick and speed, they generally run the backbone of the secure technology communications network, which requires physical ships to actually carry data on their internal servers to different sectors. And we also have, unless I guess you want to add more to this, we also have a real-life version of the plushie to show off here in just a moment.
Yes, a member of the community, Manic Fox, saw this image and was inspired to create a real-life version, which I am blown away by and very appreciative of the amount of dedication and care that people have put into our shared universe. And I really appreciate both Kia and Manic Fox for taking a joke that I made in an offhand comment and turning it into a real thing. And yeah, my thanks to both of them.
It won't be long now before we'll be seeing an advertisement where you too can buy an Icarosian courier plush for only the low price of 457 howl. Taxes and shipping not included.
Yeah, indeed. We'll see what happens with them in the Penumbra network.
Speaking of the Penumbra network, I believe you have a reporting on them for our final session this month.
I do. As always, our final monthly segment is the Penumbra Report, as I continue to gain access to the murky Penumbra through informants, observation, and some conspiracy boards with a lot of red string.
I'm sorry, I have to interrupt this broadcast for just one moment to bring you some news from the Tahorify trading ambassadors that I've been talking with here on Puluhan. They're indicating a report of a shortage of cranital dye. It's a crab-based pigment popular for its vivid red color. I'm sorry, Lupus. It was just an immediate broadcast. Please continue.
Anyway, as I was saying, conspiracy boards with a lot of string of an unimportant colour. One such board is titled the Amicable Accord Transit and Trade Truckers Union. The Gila-based outfit is well known for their transport of bulk perishables and Carter-cooked cuisine between Gila and Center. In a string of recent incidents, they have been subject to heists, an employee strike, links to terrorist activity at the Carter-Cook Grand Prix, and now corporate corruption. The Pulahan Papers, a 47-page document published by one Biscuity Crumbles, details a series of financial transactions that point to crimes such as insider trading, price gouging, bait-and-switch tactics, and, most importantly, being in the pocket of the Golden Stag Revolutionary Front.
BBTV dedicates itself to our political neutrality, being the voice of everyone. We are in no way associated with any political group, interest, or lobbyist. However, with that in mind, this is your reminder to please thank the Ogumel and Taurus Board and the New Eden Gene Break for their proud sponsorship of this broadcast.
Be a better you. The ongoing conflict in the Penumbra between the mercenary groups organized into so-called free agents and the segregation supporting Golden Stag Revolutionary Front has been linked to a series of very destructive events across Beacon space. A murder on board cruise ship Teleria, the death of 8 people in a major vehicle accident that authorities claim to be a gas leak in a world with no flammable gas infrastructure, and a rise in violent activity for the major ports in Concord space.
That sounds quite dangerous. Please make sure to consult the BBTV Travel Advisory website for details on visas, language, environmental equipment, and the best place to have your genes edited to be a better you. Enjoy 10% off on Moss as part of the Witchmas discount today.
A representative from the Concord of Mutual Disdain, one Wystan Fralker, had this to say. It is disgusting, terrible acts. We plead for any engaging in this horrific, violent, criminal activity. Our society has worked hard to overcome mutual disdain and reach a peace. This message is one we wish to spread among the stars. Ask yourself, would your parents be proud? How can you be proud of yourself when all you are doing is hurting innocent people and ruining the lives of the honest? Anyone who has information on either the Golden Stag Revolutionary Front or a radical individual known as Greek Fire, we urge to come forward. There are rewards available for confirmed intelligence. And I personally must agree with the statements of Miss Fralker. I don't understand why the Penumbra has been left to fester and continue as it has, rotting the core of our society as a source of violence and destruction. Any of you who are listening, as I know you must be, please return to an honest life. And this is Lupus Calbert signing off until the next Penumbra report.
The next Penumbra report probably coming on next month's broadcast, as has been quite a theme in your sensational reporting. Perhaps one of these times these reports will return you into the rankings of one of the most popular reporters, but it may be some time before that happens.
I am hoping to break back into the top 20 next week when I release. Well, I shouldn't go into it.
We'll just have to see what happens. You'll need to follow the BBTV website for the most recent releases from both myself, including some of my new investigations here on Puluhan, as I explore the increased reach and space that the Tohora Phi have begun to claim, as well as the upcoming reporting from Lupus Kalbrek, as he continues to have more than enough time in his apartment to study online message boards in totally secure communication fashions.
Praise be to the Hollow Queen, she who sleeps and slumbers. Her reach so vast, so dark, so deep. Praise be the Hollow Queen. Sorry. Yeah. Everything he said.
With that, I'd like to thank everyone for watching our news broadcast today. I hope you've enjoyed our update from month 14 here of Beacon Space Broadcast TV. This has been the Unrestricted Lore Affairs production of our monthly news show. And I think we have a few administrative updates as we round out the stream here, mostly having to do with new upcoming events. Assuming everything goes well this week, with some post-production work, we're planning to have a Halloween's Free Agent episode that'll premiere next week, October 30th, starting around approximately 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time for a stream start, which will have a Halloween-inspired episode. The week after that, on November 6th, at 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, we'll have Faction Turn 14. I have discovered that it was perhaps the daylight saving time week where we have a difference between those of you in Europe and myself in North America, to where we are all thrown into a whack as we have a week where the time difference between us is different than it is the majority of the rest of the year. So I believe that means you all fall back before we do, and the stream will be 1 hour later than it normally is for you. So that's not next week, that's on November 6th. I will try to remind people as we get going on that broadcast. With that, Kalbrick, do you think I've missed anything? Have anything more we need to say as we end up today's show?
No, I think we've been fairly comprehensive. Once again, I have to thank everybody in the community that has contributed to Beacon Space as a whole and BBTV specifically. How much effort and time people put into these for the benefit of all of us. And big thanks to everybody for the work that's gone into your submissions. It's always high quality, and it's awesome to see what you come up with. So thank you very much, and please keep submitting.
Oh, that actually reminds me of other high quality work that we've seen over the past month. We actually announced on the Discord that factions could include some additional emotes into the Discord, as we have more than enough slots there. We've had a few submissions, and I've actually added two of them into Twitch emotes. They will become either follower emotes or tier 1 sub emotes once I finally unlock enough sub slots. But I want to make sure that Oblaman gets a shout out for the insanely cute um, Quettal emotes for yes and no that many factions have picked up to start using as voting emotes, which have been quite cool to see, as well as a new one. I unfortunately don't have the graphics set up to be able to show on stream, but a new one that has been added that has the Quettal heart, where the Quettal has some hearts surrounding it, and it looks very cute. Those are all available on the Discord if you join them, and anyone can use them there. So I'm excited to see perhaps more come in the future, and maybe next month we'll have to do a roundup of all of the new emotes that have shown up and show them off for sure. With that, though, I think we are going to end this broadcast. It's been a great time having all of you out here enjoying the news and lore of Beacon Space on Beacon Broadcast TV's special morning stream from Pulahan. I've been Xavier Stordes, and my co-host.
I have been Lupus Calbrecht.
And we are signing off, and as I will leave you with some more fun music from that is royalty free and doesn't get us DMCA'd. Enjoy and have a great rest of your days.
Have a good day.